had a very special friend named Bob, and Bob came to visit me in Vancouver, and he says, I found the secret to life. I'm like, yeah, right, really, really, sure. And he just started telling me this amazing story how he'd been caretaking this little cottage on the island, and he'd met the neighbors, of course. And over the course of the summer, his neighbor had met an enlightened man. And Bob was very skeptical, like, what? Right here in Canada? What? So anyway, Bob noticed a tremendous change in his neighbor and friend, Chip Chipman. So Chip was like, well, Sid is giving a public talk on Salt Spring Island, which was nearby. Why don't you go? So Bob thought, well, yes, I'll check it out. And so Bob went over to Salt Spring and heard Sid speak. It was like his first public talk on Salt Spring Island. And it was absolutely blown away with what Sid shared. So he immediately came to visit me to tell me about what he'd heard and what he was experiencing. It was kind of funny at the beginning because I was arguing with Bob, like, sure, you found the secret to life, hard to believe, but also, what do you mean my thought creates my reality? At first, I very much argued, and I'm like, well, actually, it's circumstance, and I've had pretty good circumstance, so I've been really lucky and been kind of a happy person, but it's the circumstance that determines my state of mind, and that's just the way it is. But to be honest, it was really this feeling that Bob now had that intrigued me above all else, because intellectually I'm like arguing away, but it was this feeling. It was kind of full of vitality yet very calm, and I was like, I like that. I really like that feeling of deep happiness and calm, yet you're also enthusiastic. It really appealed to me. So Bob came back to the city, and he's like, Sid Banks is speaking on a neighboring island. Do you want to go? And I'm like, yeah, for sure. So we went for the weekend, but the talk was just incredible to me. It was always about the feeling, because Sid had experienced these insights, and his love for humanity and for us, this group of young people, old people, all kinds of people. His love for us was just so tangible. That was kind of the big start to my life changing, and that was when I was 21 years old. How lucky was I to come upon this? So I've never ever forgotten those things of, oh, something to do with thought, and then that happiness is inside, and that wisdom and the intellect can synchronize to serve you really well. I've been a teacher for many, many years, and I've worked with lots of young people who've had just really challenging circumstances, difficult circumstances, things to overcome. And once they start to see the logic of this, and we've written a curriculum for youth and put real stories in there of change. And the purpose of these stories is so young people can see the logic of how these principles work. And if you're really hurting, sometimes it's easier to see the logic, how it works for someone else. And then one day it'll happen and you go, wow, me too.